Hi guys, this is Kirsten, and today I have a review for you guys. It is for, let me get the paper out, it's for the Professional Notebook, Structured Thinking. It is for the Pro Collection, as it were, and I have loved this journal so much that this is the second time I purchased it. So I figured, since I have a pretty thorough knowledge of it, I can safely say I know a thing or two about it. So let's go into it. This is my one that I use for about a year, and I wanted to show you kind of like compare and contrast of what it is and show you how it just wears in general. So before we get to that, let's just get into the features that it has now. I'm going to just use this little guy here. It says that it has a contents page, a key task page, project planning page, goals, numbered pages, detachable pages, to-do lists, double pocket, and adhesive tabs. So that's a lot of stuff. So I'll walk you through it, give you some of my pros and cons, and then show you kind of what I use it for really briefly. I did do a more thorough video about it in a previous time, so if you're interested, I'll link it down below. So let's get right into it. Just like any notebook, it is 5.5 inches by 8.25 inch notebook. It's very portable, but it is big enough that you can carry it, and it is the classic black hardcover Moleskine notebook with a elastic. There you go. It comes with an elastic to keep it secure, and also this paper. Ooh, you just saw that on camera. This little paper adhesive that just stuck to the page and ripped it. Not a big deal, but that's something to note. What else? Oh, it is sewn in. It's supposed to lay flat, and it lays slightly more flat over time, but no matter how much I've used this, and as you can see, I use this quite a bit, it always kind of needs a little bit more prompting, but it does get easier to use over time. Relatively lightweight, but durable and structured. I carried this notebook so many places. You could see some scuff marks. It has been through the ringer, and it still looks relatively good. I am not a careful person, and it still looks really good. And I stuffed this to the brim, and again, it took a lot. So that's what I love about Moleskine notebooks. They're just very durable. So anywho, let's go into it. Here it has this in case of loss section. Has the title, and then right into the front it goes into the table of contents, and that's what I actually like about this change. Last go round that I used, they had an index and a contents completely separate. They combined it all in the front, and it is just easy to use. So as it said before, every page is numbered. This here has a place for each of the pages that you can write a header, a title, a date of what's going on that page, which is really nice to catalog things, especially since this is geared more towards a professional, someone who goes to a lot of meetings, has a lot of projects. That's what it's intended for. You can also use it for school, which is very easy to do and adapt because it has a basic Cornell note style of page, which again we'll be talking about. So it's really nice to have a place to catalog everything that you have in here built in. So you have several pages of that. Then here it has key tasks. I don't know how well my camera is going to pick up because Moleskine notebooks it is a light gray line, which I personally like. It keeps me on track, but it doesn't take away focus from the actual notes itself. But on camera it won't play out that well. So you have a long segment of line that ends, let me do it here, right here. And then you have a space and then a smaller segment of the line. So it's like a running to-do list, which I don't know how well it will work since it's literally just one side of a page. So if you're going to use this as your main tasks folder, maybe not, but maybe like yearly goals or a long-term goal task sort of page. So you have that. You have a project planning page, which again, I have to kind of point out with my finger. It has this little segment that ends around here that is for a project. Then this segment here for a date. And then here for a note. So long-term things, if you're a blogger or again a student, you could just put, you know, math assignment 101 and just put maybe the name, the date it's due or something. So it gives you a nice little area to track projects, which is just cool. And then here you get this several pages, let's see, okay, several pages that just says personal goals, which has again the same line makeup as the key tasks, which has a line segment here and a place here. Again, I don't know how many goals or what its exact purpose, but you can also either skip over it. The lines are so faint that you could just use it as a note place anyway. So then those pages are done with. And here comes the meat and potatoes, the note pages. And that's what I truly, truly love about this notebook. So I will probably be taking pictures of everything. I'll probably insert it or link where you can see them. But just so you can see up close what I'm talking about in case my camera does not pick up the detail. So in here, you have a place for the date on every single page. At the bottom you have a number, and then on the middle it is sectioned into 3 key places, which they signify by a square, a circle, and a triangle. So the top section is a horizontal section about 1.5 inches long and the full width of the page. Then there is a second section which is on the far edge of the page, the one closest to the end of the notebook, and that is a triangle page, which is long and skinny. It is about 1 inch wide. I keep moving my hands, sorry. About 1 inch wide and as long as about, I would say, 3/4 of a page. Next section is the main section, or the largest section I should say, which is the circle section of the notebook, which takes up the rest of the page. So from here, my 2 fingers here, as wide, and to the bottom of the page. Like I mentioned before, it is very reminiscent of a Cornell type of note style. So you could take the bulk of your notes here and then come back later to summarize it and then write questions, or you could come back later and annotate your notes at a later date. So which is really, really nice. It's designed for each page to have a different topic, and it's very lovely. I love this structure. It's so simple yet so effective for me. I used it as a kind of like a journal type of layout. If you're interested, again, it'll be linked down below. You could use it for writing a story, a rough draft. You could write that here, write note, title here, notes. Just this unstructured structure is what I said before about this notebook. It gives you a framework to put whatever content that you are interested in putting into it, but the adaptability to change the location of where you're putting it, if that makes any sense. It's very adaptable, and for someone like me who changes their mind a lot, it's very, very, very helpful, because it gives me framework without the pressure of put certain information in certain places, if that makes any sense to you. So that's enough about that. So that goes on for about 210 pages, but something that I kind of wanted to point out, it probably is just a typo or maybe something, because they changed the layout a little bit since the last notebook. I think this is probably like a little remnants left over. It ends at 210, the numbering does. You can easily just number the last few pages. So after those, it goes to the to-do list. Oh, and that's something that I just noticed too. Okay, so these pages, the note pages, are not perforated. They're not meant to be torn out at all. But the ones that are not dated, maybe it's purposeful. These are. So maybe these are like, you could write the notes, tear it, like scratch paper. Maybe that's a choice, but it's just something interesting that I wanted to bring to your attention. Also, the last section is the to-do list section. I didn't really use this section that much last year. I don't see myself doing it this year, but it's here. I'll try to use it since I have it. Basically, it's divided in half with check boxes along the side, and it's meant to be like, okay, I need to go to the store, write what I need, tear it off, take it with you. So it's handy in that regard. So after those, that's the end of the notebook. And then another feature, which is really, really interesting, is this double pocket in the back. It is massive. Let me see if I can angle it. There you go. It is huge. So this here is where the typical pocket would be, this black section. Then they have this open tab in front, which is very, very cool and really awesome for those that want to, you know, put your receipts, put notes, anything. But it is massive, massive. And also what is really cool is that this part is reinforced. So as you can hear, it's like this vinyl plasticky material, as well as the second flap, which is completely unbound here, so you could put way more in here, which is super, super, super nice. I really, really like that a lot. So there's that. And then the last feature they give here, I love the color scheme. It has this teal, I don't even know, I think it's teal, this greenish color. It has this maroon color, this light gray, and then this lilac color that you could just take and put tabs in to keep by month or section, which is cool. And then it has this spine cover label for archiving purposes. So that is the notebook. This is your little tour. Now on for the cons. There are some cons to it, and the primary one that comes to mind is the fact that this paper is relatively thin. It's not ridiculously thin. I mean, this is my standard test. I call it the flick test. Ready? It's very, very, very thin compared to, let's say, cardstock or even standard paper. It feels like kind of those cheap value packs of notebook paper, like the very, very cheap, like the bottom of the barrel one, not even the like higher standards. Bleed wise, it does take the ink, but it will see through. Let me see if I have an example. I like juicy pens, so here is how last year I used Uniball Vision Elite pens, which are juicy. So it took the ink, but you can clearly see once you move in that it is basically like see-through. So if that's something that ghosting gets to you, avoid all Moleskine notebooks. Their paper quality can be, it's usable for an everyday or like a scratch notebook, but if you're using it for archiving purposes, or if you're just a stickler for those kind of things and just don't like how it looks, just avoid it in the long run. Also, the price. It is about $22 with tax at Barnes & Noble. Even on Amazon, it is $18 still, which is more affordable, but it is still an investment. It is not exactly a cheap notebook. For someone that just wants to casually use it, I don't think it is for you. But if you are someone that seriously likes notebooks, if you're someone that wants something that is more interesting and creative, it's more of a specialty notebook, which they do. That's exactly what Moleskine are. It is professional. There are other things to write notes in, but let's say whatever notes you're going to take, you want them to last, put it in here. These, again, like I told you, this big behemoth passed through a ton of stuff, and it is purely intact. It took a lot of beating. The spine held up really, really well. So if you want durability, this is for you. Also, if you're a professional going into board meetings, this looks nice, sleek, and compact. So that's my overall opinion. I think it's worth it if you're looking for a little bit extra, want to treat yourself to a bit. Is it essential? No. For me, yes. But for the average person, no. Overall, I think it's worth it. And you could always just buy it online for a slightly discounted rate. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you want any other videos, having any further questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. So hope you guys have a good day. Bye.